Hello and welcome back to Hindustan Astrology. I'm Katya, and in today's webinar, I have back my dear mentor, Dr. Santhip Kanholi. Thank you, Santhip G, for joining us.
Yeah, namaste, Katya. Good to be here.
Namaste. So in today's video, we are going to talk about the upcoming solar eclipse that's taking place on October 14th. So let's go ahead and get started. So this solar eclipse is taking place at 27 degrees of Virgo, Chitra Nakshatra on October 14th, 2023. So this is our table of contents. This is what we're going to discuss. Just briefly go over what is a solar eclipse, talk about these two solar eclipses going over the United States, and also look at the video of it. And then numbers 5 through 11 are the points that we are going to discuss. And then we're going to briefly talk about what happened back in 2004 when this eclipse was in a very similar position. It was 18 and a half years ago. The whole series was actually 2003 to 2005 when Rahu was in Aries and Ketu was in Libra. And then we're going to do solar eclipse predictions for all 12 signs. And then as a bonus, we're going to take a look at the lunar eclipse on October 28th as well. So let's get started. So if you know me, you know I've been talking about these eclipses for like 5 years now. When I saw this is a screenshot from my local news channel, and they put this out 5 years ago. They're like, it's coming again, because we had that one in 2017, right? And look at the circus in the United States that we have going on since then. So right off the bat, without even looking at the signs or anything, I just want to say up front, what's interesting to me is that where these two paths come, so the one we're doing now starts in Oregon and it goes across, comes out around Houston, okay? Second one is going to start down here in April and then go across up to Maine. This one is going to go right over my house. I live right here. So you notice this section right here? You see where they cross? To me, this is the crisis of the border that we have right now. I feel like this is going to be the focal point for both eclipses, right? Because it's the eclipse path that really feels it the most. And you know, it's absolute chaos down there right now. Thousands of people, like over 10,000 people a day, are coming into the United States illegally. And it's just a tragedy because they definitely need help, but we need help in maintaining it. You know, it's not that we don't, want them as families. It's just that they let in a lot of other riffraff. And then what about the people that come from like the Middle East or Asia, and they have to go through this long, process to get their green card, to get their visa? Why do they have to go through that when these people don't? And so all of these issues are going to be, I feel like, for both eclipses, a big deal. And so you see over here on the left, we have the one that's happening now, and we're going to look at that in a second. But this is the one for next April, and look at all the stuff in Pisces. So, if you know anything about the fixed stars, you know that the fixed stars, especially at the beginning of Pisces, that are in the Pegasus constellation, Sheet and Markab, they are very difficult. And so yes, Pisces is spiritual, but it's spirituality that has been gained at the cost of going through a lot of difficulty. So that's just the overview of the two. And then this is our chart for October 14th. And I'm just going to read over these, and then I'm going to have Santhip start off talking, what he feels. So first we have Mercury's conjunct the new moon. So you notice that the moon is actually in Virgo, but K2 is in Chitra. But what's important is that they are less than 4 degrees between each other. So it's not so much about the demarcation of the Rashi sign, it's more about how close they are in degree. So moon is still in Virgo, and the nodes are going to shift, November 28th into K2 will go into Virgo, Rahu will go into Pisces. But this puts the moon in Virgo and it's Chitra Nakshatra. So the lord of the new moon is Mercury, and he is here conjunct the new moon. So that is going to place even more emphasis upon all things Mercury, and he is exalted in Virgo and Mula Tricona. So all of those things are going to be big at this time, and we'll discuss them. Rahu is Gandanta, meaning Rahu is in the first few degrees of a fire sign, Aries, and it will go backwards into Pisces and be Gandanta well until I think February, something like that. I think January, February. He's loosely conjunct Jupiter retrograde and Uranus. And those two are headed for an exact conjunction right after the April 8th eclipse. On April 20th, we have Jupiter exactly conjunct Uranus. And that hasn't happened since the early 1500s when Ponce de Leon discovered Florida looking for the fountain of youth. Okay. That's the last time those two planets. So this eclipse is kind of the buildup also of this Jupiter Uranus. Mars is the ruler of Chitra, and it is conjunct K2. Not good. So we're going to talk about that extensively. And Pluto will have, as of September 11th, will be going direct. And that's significant because we're going to have a Pluto return on February 22nd of 2024. And then he's going to go retrograde, and he's going to hit that point again next November. So next year, so this is important. And then we have Saturn giving his third aspect, 1, 2, 3, onto Rahu, Jupiter, and Uranus. So those are all the things. As you can see, we have quite a lot going on for this eclipse. So Santhip, take it away.
Yeah, so this is a very important eclipse actually, because this is actually happening in Virgo sign. Virgo is a sign, if you know, astrologically it is called as the one of the Dushtana houses, the 6, 8, 12 houses, which can give you problems actually in the natural zodiac. So you're going to see a health crisis kind of thing because Virgo is linked with health. You're going to see some more important points also. Now it's very interesting. Mercury is also the planet of commerce, and Mercury is also the planet as well of business transactions and marketing and all that. So we are more likely to face some kind of economic crisis of sorts in upcoming for a few months. I think more importantly because the eclipse time period is when the government is at its weakest. Already, as we can see in the news right now, the government is having to face a shutdown. Seems like it's going to happen and all that in the US. So the crisis usually you begin to feel like crisis around the eclipse time. So seems like this crisis could be serious actually. Mercury is connected with the postal department actually, so it'll be interesting to see on that matter. So you could see some postal kind of issues and so forth. Some again crisis logistics and all that can happen. Now some of the other points which Katya mentioned is also very important actually. I think I would definitely like to highlight Pluto being Pluto return and all that. That's a big deal actually. Anytime a country goes through Pluto return, big changes comes in that particular country and all that. So we'll have to see what happens in the US and so forth next year. Now, the Chitra Nakshatra bit I want to add is that Chitra is connected with celestial architect. Now, the deity is actually Vishwakarma, who designed the entire universe. So perhaps we might be coming across some breakthrough in machines, new kind of technologies coming through. I think Chitra also I would like to think about Chitra as being linked with the Apple has recently released its Vision Pro headset and all that. So I do think that we might be entering into a era where that Vision Pro kind of thing, the virtual reality is going to be a big deal and all that. Those kind of thing might be coming definitely in the future and all that. But for this eclipse is very important because it is also one point which I would like to highlight is that it is actually happening